Hi, welcome to another video about the Ribhu Gita, a truly amazing book recommended by the great sage Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi to his devotees and disciples. It's one of the few special works that can very effortlessly give you stillness and peace just by reading it. So it's something you have to experience for yourself. I talked a little bit about this in my previous video on this book. I've been, reading this book for many years, and so have many thousands of people, I'm sure. But just reading a few passages of it, you'll find that the truth that's described in here is so clear and direct that just by glancing over it, it automatically gets verified in your own awareness as being truth. And it strips away all of the unnecessary concepts in our mind about who we are, what liberation is, what our true nature and our true identity is and is not, and leaves you with just a clear seeing of what we are. So I like to just read a couple pages to you. You can see there's just a few passages here, and any few pages or a few passages is enough to give you a peek into your own nature, free of thought and free of confusion. And it's very easy. It takes no effort at all. So that's why I'm starting to share a little bit of reading with you. It's common for people to say that, truth is not found in books and things like that, which is true. You can't really just look for it in books, but sometimes it's been given by the sages who have experienced the truth, and which is what you are, what I am. And it happened to have been recorded in such a clear way that it gives you what you need very easily. So it is possible to experience it in this way as well. And that can aid you on your path to resting into your own nature. All right, so here I am on page 244. I just kind of spontaneously came upon this page. This contrasts the previous video in which it was a passage that was more clearing away things that people are into for trying to realize their nature, spiritual practices and things. And this one is more affirming. This mantra is only the self. This japa, repetition of mantra, is only the self. This world is only the self. There is nothing besides the self. This sound is the self alone. This essence is the self alone. This touch is the self alone. Nothing exists besides the self. This smell is only the self. This composure is only the self. This sorrow is only the self. This joy is only the self. This world is of the self only. Of the self alone is this dream state. The state of deep sleep also is of the self only. There is nothing besides the self. Action is only the self alone. It is always the secondless self. Non-duality is the self only. Nothing exists besides the self. Whoever is here is the self alone. Wherever it be, it is the self. This world is the self alone. Nothing exists besides the self. That which is seen here is the self alone. These people are only the self. All of this is only the self. And there is nothing besides the self. This Shambhu, or Shiva, is only the self. This world is only the self. This Brahma is only the self. There is nothing besides the self. This sun is only the self. This inertness is only the self. This meditation is only the self. This result is only the self. So that is it of these two pages, 244 and 245. So feel free to go and get this book. There are several different translations, but I think they're all pretty good. They're all quite helpful. Continue to contemplate on these after you have read them. But usually what I find is just reading it itself puts you into a clear and still space. From this clear and still space, you can directly perceive your own nature, which is pure awareness, silent and fully content and peaceful, and without any limitation or any restriction, and no desire either of any kind, no restriction on action or inaction. So you find yourself very naturally free. And once you've seen this, you can continue to experience it, and you'll naturally want to stay there. So throughout the day, you'll practice remaining in that way. So let's just sit together in silence for a moment. Thank you for being here. Continue to enjoy this natural, peaceful beingness that you are. If you enjoyed this video, please do share it and subscribe to this channel. There's more about this, as well as music and how music relates to self-realization, as well as some specific information about Indian classical music on the saxophone. So these are some of the things covered in here. Thank you once again. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.